40 yards, touchdown, Davante Adams. Once that happened and the snow started falling, it got cool. Aaron got hot, 5 for 5, 40 to Davante Adams, and it was all over from there. I want to make just a plea here for Davante Adams for Offensive Player of the Year. There's some talk about Alvin Kamara, Travis Kelce, first tight end with back-to-back 100 reception seasons, but Davante Adams, 109 catches, 1,328 yards, 17 touchdowns of the season. Obviously, it's a dependent position. Rodgers has put him in that boat, but the Packers themselves take care of business on Sunday Night Football. They beat the Bears, they get home field. Bears beat the Packers, they get in the playoffs. Pretty juicy for the NFL's oldest rivalry resume for the latest time this coming Sunday.
Yeah, it's really juicy, and I think really the key for the Bears is going to be to pound the run, because I think that's where they could get an advantage. They won't have an advantage at quarterback. They just won't. You know, the pass rush of the Bears can be very good when it heats up, but Rodgers gets the ball out so fast, I'm not sure they can really count on that. What they have to do is keep him on the sideline. It's just old school. Talk about the oldest rivalry. It's what they need to do. And the Bears run the ball pretty well. They're not great, but they're okay. That okay needs to be enough to move the chains, because they do not want this, as well as as Trubisky has been playing, they do not want this to turn into a quarterback duel.
Indeed. Green Bay wins, home field throughout. Bears win, they get themselves into the playoffs. Pretty darn simple there for those two. On the way, the number one question for the Jets: what should they do with the number?
Rest, especially in the third quarter, putting the game away and coming away with a win as a team.
That'll do it, folks. Looks like Trevor Lawrence is going to go to Jacksonville. Jacksonville. So the Jets beat the Browns on what was a fumble.
The Jets have the football. They will say that Baker Mayfield coughed the ball up.
The Jets, I'm surprised they know how to do victory formation. 2 in a row. Baby.
Unbelievable Sunday in the National Football League, setting up for what will be an incredible week number 17 with so much still on the line. With Trevor Maddich this morning, I'm Zubin Mehenti. It's Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin. The fellas have the week off. We'll all be back ready to go Monday, January 4th, get you in full playoff mode. But first, Trev, a national champion, for those of you that may not be aware, at BYU, played in the NFL. So much football to get to. An unprecedented season. We knew it would be. And now week 17 with so much on the line for so many teams. We're going to get to all of it here over the next 4 hours. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. And we will start with the Chicago Bears, because I just sort of feel like, Trev, if you were sitting next to me, socially distanced, 6 feet apart, earlier in the month, it would have been saying, can't be bullish on the Bears, right? On the 6th of December, Trev, on the 6th of December, earlier this month, the Bears had lost their 6th game in a row. December 6th, they had lost 6 in a row. You thought they were finished. Matt Nagy was done. His seat was scalding hot. Mitch Trubisky likely wouldn't have been back. Hang on. Back it up. The Bears now, with a win on Sunday against their arch rival, the Packers, or a loss by the Arizona Cardinals, they are in. They go from losing 6 in a row to being in pole position to make the playoffs. That's where we'll start this morning with Chicago off their win over Jacksonville. Your thoughts on one of the craziest turnarounds here in less than 1 month.
And all has to do, I think, with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback. He seems to be angry now. And I love to see that, Zubin, because coming out of college at North Carolina, he did really well when it didn't matter that much. But in the big games, when he was getting hit in the mouth, he seemed to disappear. It's not that he did poorly. It's that it's like he wasn't there. And I think in his early years in Chicago, I saw a similar thing. I'm not saying he's soft or anything like that. It just seemed like that he just wasn't present. He didn't make an impact like I thought he could based on his physical talent. And really in the winning streak, the 3-game winning streak, he's throwing the ball farther down the field. His stats in terms of passing yards in chunks have gotten much better. And I think part of it is just that he's angry. He's tired of it. He's tired of people saying he can't play. He's tired of being the butt of the jokes in Chicago. And I think he's come out and put that extra layer of emotion on top of his game, and I think that's helping him.
Now, we are going to go to Chicago at 6:40 to talk to our Bears insider, Jeff Dickerson, 6:40 a.m. Eastern. Trev said they put together the 3-game winning streak, not a moment too soon. Quality of competition is what it is, but as Key always likes to say, you just play who's in front of you. They beat the Texans 36-7. They're going nowhere. They played the Vikings in what was actually a huge game for both teams. Both teams actually came in at 6-7. They edged them 33-27, and then a win over the Jags yesterday, 41-17, which clinched the number 1 overall pick for Jacksonville. They have not won since week number 1. Let that settle in. The Jags have not won a game since week number 1. That 6-game losing streak started with a loss to the Rams, who are fighting for their playoff lives. Then a loss to the Saints, the Titans, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Lions. Again, on December 6th, lost 6 in a row. They also thought it was a lost season and a lost career for Matt Nagy. And I'll be interested to see what Jeff Dickerson, our Bears insider, has to say about this, because I'm going to give you the totality now of Matt Nagy. If I was an attorney, if I was representing the case for Matt Nagy, everybody says he's on a scalding hot seat, this is what I would say. 3 seasons in the NFL will be complete next week after their game against the Packers. Again, a win over the Packers, and they're in. A Cardinals loss to the Rams. The Bears are also in that way. So they got 2 ways to get in: a win and take care of business, or they can leave it up to the Rams. 3 years for Matt Nagy. First year, 12-4, double doink in the playoffs. We remember that, but 12-4, they get into the playoffs for the first time in 8 years. That has to mean something for equity. Then they backslide to 8-8. If they win on Sunday, they'll be 9-7. So in a best case scenario, Trev, 12 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins. That means 3 seasons, 2 playoff berths, 0 losing seasons. Let that settle in for a second, considering the way people talk about Matt Nagy. In a best case scenario, with the win against the Packers, he would be in the playoffs 2 of his 3 years and never had an under 500 season. When you see it that way, to me, suddenly that scalding seat isn't so hot.
And you've got to also look at the quarterbacks that he's facing and that he has to face them with. Now, they chose Mitchell Trubisky. I get that. But you've got Aaron Rodgers up in Green Bay, Matthew Stafford at Detroit, and then Kirk Cousins, who's a pretty good quarterback. I like him better than a lot of people do in Minnesota. And then you've got Chicago. And so he's dealing with, at least with the Lions and with especially the Packers, with a quarterback situation where he's going to have the lesser of capability. And still, he's been able to do what you just said he did. I think it's really easy for us to say that a coach isn't getting to the Super Bowl. You know, it's like a Nick Saban in the SEC. They say, you don't beat Nick Saban, you're out, you're gone. Well,
who does?
Right now, the Packers are on a run, right? And to be second to that is not such a bad thing as long as the trajectory is improving. And right now, the Bears' trajectory is improving.
Indeed. I want to talk about the Packers here in a second, because essentially the Bears and the Packers right now might be in the same division, but they're also battling for the top of the NFC playoff picture and the bottom. But before we get to the Packers and what they did on Sunday Night Football, which opened some eyes big time, Mitch Trubisky and the Bears, 30-plus points, 3 straight weeks. The offense clicking at just the right time.
Second half, yes. I thought we could have been a little bit better in the second quarter. Just with our communication, being faster in and out of the huddle and getting substitutions in the game a little bit better. And I thought we cleaned it up the second half. So I think it was just some self-inflicted stuff in the second quarter, but we made those adjustments at halftime, came out and was playing fast in the third and fourth quarter. So that's good. Teams make adjustments, and they know when to self-correct and when to get on each other and just communicate. And we were able to make those adjustments, and I think we did make some progress, especially in the third quarter, just putting the game away and coming away with a win as a team.
There you go. That's Mitch Trubisky. Again, we'll go to Chicago Bears insider Jeff Dickerson joins us at 6:40 for a team that has turned it around at the exact right moment. Once again, a win over the Packers, and they clinch a playoff spot. They will play at 4:25 Eastern, also at 4:25 Eastern in week number 17. It'll be Arizona and the Rams. The Bears could also get in with a Cardinals loss, so they'll be scoreboard watching. Just take care of business. You don't have to worry about the Cardinals and the Rams, but at the very same time, a Rams win over Arizona could also get Chicago in. So a duality of ways for them to get into the playoffs, but why not just win, get in, go there with a little bit of momentum? We're asking this morning on the Dr. Pepper Twitter feed, who do you trust more? The Chiefs or the Packers? Be a part of the Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin Nation on the Dr. Pepper Twitter feed. ESPN Nation presented by Dr. Pepper. College football season winding down. So is your favorite Dr. Pepper loving college football town, Fansville. Head to a store near you to treat your inner college football fan to an ice cold 20-ounce Dr. Pepper today. The reason we're asking that, of course, the Chiefs have the 1 seed in the AFC. The Packers can clinch home field advantage themselves with the win over the Bears on Sunday. So there's so much on the line, obviously, for Chicago. But at the same token, Trev, a ton on the line for Green Bay. Again, home field throughout the NFC playoffs. With a win over the Bears, they could also get it with a Seattle